tonight's going to be the consolation contest. It's going to feature the Northern Michigan Wildcats against the Boston College Eagles. And we're going to round it out tonight with an 8:30 face-off between the Arizona State Sun Devils and Michigan Tech Huskies, live here from Las Vegas, Nevada. Looking forward to another great show. We got some great guests coming up, some special guests from your Arizona State Sun Devils. Also going to visit with Tyler PALEY, the play-by-play man of Pac-12 Network, get his feel for what he saw last night. And we'll be right back with the start of the show.
The Ice Den Scottsdale has always been the coolest place in the desert. Now with the addition of the Ice Den Chandler, our 2 locations hosting 5 sheets of ice make the Ice Den your home for youth, travel, and adult hockey leagues. Our nationally recognized Learn to Skate programs offer world-class instruction for skaters of all ages. Our pro shop features equipment and apparel with the top hockey and figure skating brands. 18 Degrees Express with the Chili Bean Cafe make the Ice Den the perfect place to host your next birthday party or special event. Visit us online at coyotesice.com.
All right, it's day 2 of the Ice Vegas Invitational. Why not bring Tyler PALEY back in, the man that knows it all about Sun Devil hockey? And Tyler, I understand you've been out and about today doing some things in Vegas.
Yeah, going around the city and just filming some things for a story I'm working on for Arizona PBS. So yeah, I've been out and about all day and still don't have quite everything I want or need, but we're getting there.
So what are you finding out about Vegas when you're out and about there? What's new and exciting in Vegas?
I mean, it's just an awesome place. You know, I've been here probably half a dozen times or so now, and I guess most recently, or 2 times ago that I came, it was for the shooting that had just happened, and I came to do a story on it, and it was just so surreal. It was such a somber note here in this city. And then I came back about a week later, and you could feel it starting to come up. And now coming back a couple months later, you just feel like the energy is back in this city. I didn't necessarily find anything new per se, but it's the energy that I originally found and so many people love in Vegas. And it's good to see that this city is getting back up on their feet after that horrific event.
You know, you and I talked a little bit about a couple of players that are with the Sun Devils and key players, actually. Joey Ratz and Dominic Garcia. And I know you're working on a story on that, but how has the community accepted those 2 as NCAA players? I know they've had Jason Zucker and Derek Englund and stuff in the past, but how are they accepting these 2 playing so close to home in NCAA hockey?
I think it's unbelievable for the community and for them to see 2 young people in the grand scheme of things rise up through the ranks here in Las Vegas, right in their hometown, and become Division I hockey players. And not only Division I hockey players, but playing 4 hours from home. And that's really special for a community. On the player side, that's really special for them too, because Dominic Garcia, he was telling me yesterday that his family doesn't get to see him play that often. You know, they still live 4 hours away, and granted that's a lot closer than somebody who might live on the East Coast, but still it's a journey to get down to Arizona, and for him to come be able to play right here in his hometown, that's really special to him, and I'm sure to Joey, who I plan on talking to later today as well.
So last night we had the first game, and I think the team took us all by surprise. I didn't see a 3-goal outburst in the opening period coming. Did you?
No, not at all. I mean, that was unbelievable. I was really pleasantly surprised. I think that, look, this team, we talked about it yesterday and we've talked about it all season long. This team doesn't have the skill to necessarily compete at the highest levels of the NCAA right now. That's just the fact of the matter. But when you can beat a team that isn't half bad in Northern Michigan by that large of a margin, that really sends a statement. When you win 7-3, by far the best offensive night for Arizona State, at least this year, if not in its program history so far, that's really impressive.
You know, last night we heard Coach Powers talk about this week was about fun, right?
Yeah.
He told the guys he wanted to have fun. He brought them over to his house Wednesday night. They looked like they were having fun last night. Is that what you saw?
That's exactly what I saw, and that's why I asked him that, because I was actually standing in between the benches for 2 periods of that game yesterday, and it just seemed like everybody was having more fun. Everybody was loose out there. And granted, when you're winning 3-0 or when you get the first goals of the game, obviously you're going to be a little looser out there. But it was just a nice, refreshing thing to see a team that has really struggled, offensively especially, struggled to get wins. And of course, Powers keeps saying that's not what it's about. But it was good to see a team finally win and kind of get that joy back, especially on the road.
Absolutely. And when you broke it down, the whole game into the 3 different periods, the Sun Devils get 3 in the first period and they have a 3-0 lead. Then Joey DeCourt does his thing to hold off a pretty heavy rush from the Wildcats. And then the third period, the Sun Devils come back and get 4.
Yeah, it was really unbelievable. I mean, the second period, ASU struggled, and quite honestly, Scott, frankly, that was the worst period of hockey I think I've ever seen, not only from ASU, but just in general. I mean, that was just a terrible period on both sides. But yeah, then the third period, they came back with that offensive explosiveness. Gage Huff got in on the action. That's always good to see from the old timer, as they call him. But yeah, the captains really stepped up. Brinson Pashnuk had a goal and a couple of assists. It was just good to see these players who we know have the skill to be leaders on this team actually step up and do it.
What do you feel, seeing the guys last night and seeing them already today a little bit, what do you feel they've got in store for tonight? Are they ready for this?
Are they ready for it? I think you're as ready as you're ever going to be. But I think Michigan Tech is one heck of a hockey program. I mean, just the way that they competed with BC and ended up beating BC yesterday. And granted, BC is not the normal Jerry York team right now. They have their flaws, but when you're playing against such a storied program in BC and you're beating them, that says something. And then ASU and Michigan Tech, this is something I've actually been thinking about. They might have this kind of unspoken rivalry starting up, you know? They've played the last year now, playing tonight in this championship game. In a couple or about a month from now, they'll head up to the UP in Michigan and play them there. So who knows? I mean, this could be kind of some sort of unspoken rivalry. Who knows what we'll expect tonight? But in answer to your original question, I think they are ready. It's whether or not they can compete with Michigan Tech.
Yeah, and you know, last night what I noticed, it looked like the Sun Devils came out and played their traditional real heavy game to start. They were forechecking, they were driving people into the boards, they were opening up the ice. They kind of backed off, I think, in the second period and then did it again in the third period. But in my estimation, to beat Michigan Tech, you're going to have to come out and throw yourself around, throw that weight around a little bit initially. Is that what you're thinking?
Oh, 100%. You have to come out strong out of the gates, because if you fall down 1-0, 2-0, and you're heading into an intermission, it's a struggle to come back against this highly talented team. You don't want to fall behind against this team. You don't want to fall behind against anybody, but especially a game like this, you need to come out swinging. You need to continue to frustrate people, and I think that's what ASU does so well with guys like Johnny Walker, Dominic Garcia, Tyler Bush. All of those guys are really enforcers. They frustrate the other team, and they did that so well yesterday. If they can continue to do that today, there's no reason they can't win.
So final question for you. Assuming we get a win out of this one and we win a tournament title, what will that do, do you think, for this upcoming homestand and propelling them the rest of the way? Well,
first of all, I think it will generate a little more hype in this new year for the fans to come out. And obviously the Oceanside games pretty much always get sold out. But there's one or a couple of Gila River games with BU, with Quinnipiac coming up in there. So it can really drive the fan base to come out to these games. As far as the players, they have said time and time again, as well as Coach Powers, they love playing at Oceanside. That is their home barn. That's where they prefer over Gila River. But being able to go back home 3 weeks straight and sleep in your own beds, practicing your own barns, and coming off of an Ice Vegas Invitational Championship would mean everything to this team.
Tyler, I appreciate your time as always. I know you're busy, and sitting down with you is always fun because I love talking hockey, and I know you do as well.
Love it, Scott. Thank you.
We need you. We need you. We need you to support Wildcat hockey.
The Wildcats are back in action, and it's time to show your U of A pride at the TCC Arena. Please call for tickets or come to the TCC box office. U of A hockey is affordable and fun for the entire family.
We need you.
We need you. We need you to support U of A Wildcat hockey.
Rolling. All right, it's day 2 of the Ice Vegas Invitational, and we talked to Tyler PALEY just a few minutes ago. Why not bring Paige Bernal back in and get her opinion on a historic tournament for the Arizona State Sun Devils. So Paige, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Scott. Glad to be back.
Tell me a little bit about your thoughts last night. What did you think in the first period when you see the Sun Devils go out and score 3 unanswered goals in the first period to grab a lead?
I was very impressed with them, and like I said last night, the key to that game was them having an impressive start, and they came out and did that. Then after the game, I asked the players, was it because they had such a tough weekend before in Pittsburgh that they were able to have such a good start? And most of them said yes, they needed that, and it was the push they needed, and that's why they got such a good start yesterday.
As we were talking to Coach Powers after the game, he mentioned that he'd had the guys out on Wednesday night to his house, and primarily the idea was fun, right? Mm-hmm. Making the game fun again, and it looked to me like they were having a lot of fun on the ice. Your opinion?
I agree with you. They were having a good time, especially in the first period when they got that confidence, they got those 3 goals. They realized that they could go back to that style of hockey that they've wanted to go back to for a couple weeks now. And they did really well, and once they got into that groove, they kept it moving.
You know, a couple of guys really stood out to me last night. Joey obviously was Joey, right? But Louis Rowe, when he scored that goal on the 5-on-3 power play to start the second period, the expression on his face, I happened to be about 15 feet from him on the glass, and he looked like 1,000 pounds just came off of his back.
Definitely. He definitely got the monkey off his back, and for the veterans, especially on the team, it's been a little bit difficult for them. They haven't been able to really produce the type of scoring that Coach Powers has wanted them to. Louis, you know, he's been scratched a couple times recently. That's never happened before, and he needed that goal, and so did the team. You could kind of see on the bench that the air was starting to come back into Northern Michigan, and if they hadn't scored on that 5-on-3, I think the result of the game would have been very, very different.
I agree totally.
Yeah.
Then we watched them struggle through a second period, but come out in the third period and basically throw haymakers back at them. Every time Northern made a push, the Sun Devils came back with a goal or two, right?
Yeah, they did. The second period was definitely difficult. Joey saved them in that. That's where they got the majority of their 43 shots. But Northern Michigan, they really didn't stop, you know, doing what they were doing in the second period. But the Sun Devils came back, and every time Northern Michigan scored, the Sun Devils kept scoring. And then that last goal by Brinson Pashnuk, that was a very well-deserved goal. He had an amazing game last night. He definitely stood out to me, and getting that 7th goal was definitely the cherry on top for the team.
And I think we both thought that Gage Huff's, both of his goals were, first of all, they were goal scorers' goals.
Yes.
Found the corner on both of them, one on each side. But more importantly, Gage finally contributed, and I know that's something he's wanted to do. What were his thoughts after the game?
He was really happy that he was able to contribute, and you know, I brought up to him that Coach Powers always mentions his veteran presence on the bench, and you know, of course, he was humble about it and said that you know, he always contributes whatever he can to the team, and he was just happy that the lines were working, everything was working, and the Sun Devils again went back to their identity and their simple style of play.
So last night they came out hard and physical, heavy and physical as they like to play. Then they backed off again. Can you see any rhyme or reason as to why that happens during the course of a game? Because it's happened several times this year.
I mean, Coach Powers, I think he said it very well, that all the practice they've done really just started to translate last game. And, you know, it's been difficult for them to put together, you know, a good effort for 2 periods, and I believe they did that. But getting that full game effort is still something that they're working toward. And they'll get there, but that's the thing that comes with a team that, you know, has experience. Again, there are a lot of really young guys on this team. They're playing against historical programs at a big arena. There's a lot of pressure involved, and I think that was probably part of the reason why they got a little bit loose in that second period. They got a little bit too comfortable, and then once Northern Michigan came back, I think that was actually the best thing for them because they got back to what they were doing in the first period.
So as we look at the game that's ahead of us, just about an hour and a half or so, tell me a little bit about what you think a win, if that should be the case, is going to do for the rest of the season. They've got, you know, basically the month of January at home, and to be able to win a tournament like this, I would have to think that's going to give them a lot of confidence moving forward.
It would be probably the biggest boost they've gotten all season. The Sun Devils have had those moments where they could get that home sweep or they could get that big win against an impressive program, but they really haven't gotten that yet. And to get a big win at a tournament like this at the Ice Vegas Invitational's inaugural year, it would be monumental for them, a huge confidence boost going into UMass Lowell next week, and that's what they need. But even if they don't get that win, they're still in the championship game. No one expected them to be there. It's still a huge, you know, upgrade from what they were doing before. They won on a Friday night. That's
Exactly.
That's a good thing for them, and it's going to be a lot for them. And whatever happens tonight, I think it is going to be a fairly tight game as long as, again, the Sun Devils have a good start.
You know, we talk a lot about the team and the building of the program and things like that, and it's one step at a time, but something like this I think is something that really gives them the confidence to feel like they belong. Not
Yes.
that they didn't probably already, but it's just one more of those nails or whatever rungs on the ladder, I guess we can say.
Definitely. Just being invited to something like this, it means this program is getting attention, playing the people that they have. They weren't expected to do well at all. And you know what? This team has improved so much over the season. Before they were having trouble with a 20-minute effort. They're getting up to that 40, 50, 60-minute effort. They're just constantly improving as long as they play their style of hockey. And we saw that last night, and I think whatever happens tonight, we're going to see that continue.
Paige, I always appreciate your time, and let us know what happens down there with two-touch tonight if they're just as loose as they were last night, okay?
I will. Thank you so much, Scott.
All right, it's another episode of Hockey Talk in the Desert Southwest. We're minutes before the championship game here at the Ice Vegas Invitational. Why not bring on a guy that's got some connections to two schools? Unfortunately, they're not playing against each other this weekend, but Jeff Walker, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be back.
So you're in Vegas. I'm guessing a couple of years ago you didn't think you'd be here for an NCAA hockey game, did you?
Never in a million years. Never in a million years. That's fantastic, though.
What's this week been like for you? I know close to home, you could drive to a game that's not in Phoenix.
Right.
Beautiful T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah.
Your alma mater is here, and now you got Johnny, your son, playing for ASU. Tell me what the week's been like.
It's been pretty gut-wrenching a little bit. I really wanted both teams to meet in the championship, and I would love to see how Johnny would have came out. And I'm sure, I mean, he doesn't even talk about things like that, but I'm sure underneath he'd love to come out there and do really well against BC.
So BC comes up and they come up short last night with Northern Michigan, and then tonight they go to a shootout and come up short again. So what's your feelings as far as BC? I know they're missing a lot of players with the World Juniors, but
they're definitely missing some players. They're missing the goalie and a couple of kids that actually Johnny played against last year and the last couple of years in the juniors. And I knew in the shootout the Tovin goalie for Northern Michigan used to play with Johnny in Minot.
okay,
So I knew the game was over once it went to a shootout.
right?
That kid's pretty strong. Pretty strong. Johnny would have told you the same thing.
So now we're minutes away, but let's backtrack to last night. What were your thoughts when the Sun Devils come out on a Friday night and they score 3 in the first period and they have a 3-0 lead?
Yeah. It was, as soon as they got one goal, it felt much better. They seem to play much better once they get one away and start grinding. It looked like a different team. They looked very energetic. They were hitting. They were taking the potty. They were clean. They're finishing the checks. They were making good passes. It was great hockey to watch. It was very nice. And then they got 2, and then 3. It's funny because then I. After the period, Clifford's dad and I walked by and I go, "What was that?"
Right.
And he's like, "I know." I was like, "Hey, we'll take it. Just let's keep it." And it seems like things are progressing. To trust the process, as they
Right.
say.
Absolutely.
And, it definitely seemed to they seemed to work well. Lines seemed to be nice line matchups, and the effort, the energy was nice. It was good to see.
You know, I talked to Coach Powers after the game, and he really stressed that he wanted the guys to have fun this week. I know they went out to his house on Wednesday night and just played some games and hung loose. And he said when he came up here, all he was really expecting out of them was to have a really good time and play the game for fun.
Right. Well, that's what it's all about.
That's what it's about, right?
Yeah, technically what it's supposed to be all about, but it never really is. And the way things have gone lately, I could see kids thinking too much or being afraid to make a pass, or they just have to continue to keep playing hockey and move the puck well, and they did that really well last night. Came back a little bit in the second where it kind of came back.
Kind of bogged down on them a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit, but that happens. That's a natural ebb and flow of hockey usually. But they responded very nice, and then it was nice to see, was it 4-1, then it was 5-1? Is that how it went?
I think so.
And that it was just a breath of fresh air. I think Coach Powers mentioned something about was Rowe's goal. Maybe the 4th goal was the one that really helped. I could feel it.
Yeah, that one at to start the second period when they were on the 5-on-3 power play.
Yeah.
And Coach said, quite frankly, if they hadn't scored on that, it might have been a different outcome.
Absolutely. Those things that, you sit in the stands here and you listen to some people that know hockey and some people that don't know hockey. And, but, I mean, a couple guys that I was around, we felt it. Like, that was so huge that we had to capitalize on that, and they did, and it was nice to see it happen.
Tell me a little bit about T-Mobile. You've had a chance to see it for the first time, I think, right?
Yes,
this weekend?
first time. Absolutely.
What do you think of the facility?
Beautiful facility. It's amazing. It's everything seems to be done right, except there's no shots. Right. They don't keep the shots for some reason. I'm sure they do in the NHL, but
right.
I don't know what's going on here. So it was because I was kind of curious how things were going in the first BC game.
Right.
But then you get a feel for it, but other than that, the sound system sounds great. Even though it's one of my pet peeves to listen to that. I'd rather talk to people about the game,
right?
Like during the game, we can't even hear each other. But a beautiful facility. I can see why they're doing so well.
You know, I'm going to ask you the same question I've asked the beat reporter. I've asked Tyler Paley. Should we get a win tonight and we get a tournament win, what do you think that's going to do to the team the rest of the way? Home games coming up. How big is this game tonight?
I think it'd be a nice building block. It'd be nice where they can realize how to win,
right?
And what it takes to win. Put that in the back of their mind and continue the process. And it's still going to be, they're going to run into a buzzsaw this month anyways.
Right.
But, you know, every game, except for maybe one or two,
yep,
they've been in and been very competitive. But putting this a feather in your cap and moving on would be great for them psychologically, I would think, more than anything.
Let's wrap it up a little bit by you telling me what your opinion or what Johnny's told you so far in his first half year as a collegiate hockey player. What's it been like for him?
He's really enjoyed school,
right?
Which is, you know, there was a couple of years where he homeschooled and things like that. So he's proud that he did so well. I know he's really proud of that part. So that to me is special because it's trying to instill. It's more than just the hockey. You have to be able to
absolutely
do well there. And then I know hockey's been. He's loving it. He loves the boys. He loves being around the team as usual. I think he's a little frustrated. I think he wish he could, you know, do more offensively. But it's going to come. He's been hitting post, or he passes someone to hit the post, and you know, 3 or 4 of those go a different way, and it's a different season so far. But he's hard on himself. You know, he's a pretty loose kid sometimes. You know, but like internally. And not being in juniors where you can like let frustration out a little
right.
easier. I think he's more than anything just wanted to help the team as much as possible and want to contribute more. I think that's what I would say about him so far.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because I talked to him right before Christmas and I had a chance to visit with him for a little bit, and I said, so what's the frustrations like? I hear he goes, well, I learned pretty quickly that it's not juniors. He said, it's no sense in fighting with a cage on.
yeah. Although I think he tried.
Well, Jeff, I appreciate your time. Let's get a sweep. We'll call it a home sweep even when we're in Vegas.
Yes, we're not saying it.
We're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. I got a feeling tonight. Thanks for your time as always, and hang in there the rest of the season, okay?
Absolutely.